February 27th meeting of the Wenham Select Board at 9:02 a.m. Present are Karen Anger, Gary Cheeseman, and Ben Timon on the Select Board, as well as Town Administrator Steve Poulos. Steve, do you want to start us off?
Sure. And so I asked the board to meet today to vote to sign a memorandum of agreement with a new finance director and town accountant. The individual's name is Ernest Jackson. Hold on, I think we got another. Nope, I thought there was another attendee. Yeah, so
That was on my end. Sorry.
oh, sorry.
I'm double dipping. Yeah.
Memorandum of agreement with the finance director, Ernest Jackson. The term would be, it would commence on March 23rd, 2026, and would terminate on June 30th, 2029, which is slightly over 3 years to align with our fiscal year cycle. Ernest comes to us with about 25 years of accounting experience. He's also done a couple stints as an interim HR director at his prior company. So I think, he's does not have any specific municipal experience. However, he does have a significant amount of financial experience, both in accounting and finance side, as far as modeling, performance metrics, reporting, things like that. I think that his personality is a good fit for the organization. His recommendations all came back very positive, very likable individual, works well with others, team player, definitely has, a drive to promote from within and, help build folks a skill set to, help establish our continuation planning we're working for. Um, he doesn't have municipal experience. I feel that, that is not a deal breaker, right? I think he's, quote unquote 80 or 90% there. It's just filling in the little nuances of mass general law. Accounting is accounting, kind of no matter where you go. And then mass general law throws a few little changes that he just needs to get up to speed on. So to help ensure that happens, I've built in a 12-month education plan that his employment would be contingent upon that he completes. He is excited about the educational opportunities and fully supports and intends to complete them. So, with that, I'd ask the board to sign the contract unless there's any questions or concerns, comments, anything. Gary?
Yeah, perhaps, Steve, for the public, you could go through the process that for the selection, where we started, and the numbers and so forth.
Yep, good point, Gary. So we got probably about 15 or maybe even 16 applications for this position. I want to highlight that none of them, although, a lot of very qualified individuals, none of them had municipal experience. So it wasn't, intentionally seek municipal experience, not municipal experience. Joe and I did bring back about 7 or 8 of them to have a kind of a smaller interview with just him and myself. We whittled that group down to 4 individuals who was then brought back to meet with 2 panels. One panel consisting of what we kind of deemed the finance team would be individuals that would be most touched by him in the organization. So that included the entire finance department, Michelle McGovern and Terry Fontaine. And then we had a second panel, which was, a combination of department heads that included both chiefs, the DPW director, our town clerk, Diane Bucco, and Kate Mallory, land use director. And we all sat around after the interviews, and the concern of lack of municipal experience was raised. And I agree. But unanimously, Ernest Jackson was voted on to be the lead candidate in the group that we interviewed.
Any other comments from you, Gary, or you, Karen?
Good here.
I, I'm going to be honest, I'm a little worried about the lack of municipal experience. I think his predecessor, Jeff, not only is he knowledgeable, but there was a lot of 3A things that came up, a lot of just a lot of town questions that came up. And I'd hate to have someone say, I don't know. I have to look into that and then have things be delayed and have lack of knowledge there. And I'm extremely worried that we're accepting somebody to just fill the position because we want a position filled, but we're not necessarily looking for the right people. Understanding that we're not getting the resumes coming in with the municipal experience. I don't know if that is because the annual salary base is lower than we anticipated, or Wenham is just not apparently a hot spot. But I'm extremely hesitant to move forward with anything that doesn't have that. I think we have a lot of things coming down the pipeline, and to not have experience, it's a lot of money.
Steve, I have a question about the training that you've built in over the 12-month period, which I think is a great idea, and in my opinion, mitigates some of the legitimate concerns that Karen just raised about lack of municipal experience. Is that budgeted for, or can you explain, like, the cost of that? Is that kind of built into his contract as part of the value he's getting, or is it a
Yeah,
separately
so
funded thing?
we budgeted for this position at $140,000. The he will be at 115 to start. It'll be 118 for fiscal 27. And for context, Jeff was at about 135 and his contract was up, so we anticipated a renegotiation probably in the mid 140s. So the money is there for his training. Also, we are essentially promoting, in effect, Jen Davis in the finance office, who has proved to be quite the rock star. And, we'll be taking on more complex accounting. And we've kind of talked about a twofold situation where, we'll be raising her rate of pay over the next 14 months through the end of fiscal 27, understanding that, she will need to bring this individual up to speed, and then we'll retain a portion of that as a permanent increase to her base compensation as she takes on, additional responsibilities. I've moved her into the Jeff's office. Ernest will sit up with me in the room behind my office. I think that it's important that he's close to the administration office so that we can work hand in hand. I personally, again, I don't have a crystal ball, but I think that the lack of municipal experience is, a little bit too much weight is being given to it. I feel like, all these projects that are coming before the town from a finance perspective is really no different than any other organization. Sure, they're unique to municipalities because of the type of work we do. But at the end of the day, the forecast modeling, maintaining a general ledger is the same, and analyzing these types of projects. Gap accounting is gap accounting. And the pieces that the individual would be missing is DOR specific reporting through the gateway, which Jen Davis is familiar with. I'm also familiar with. I was a finance director before I was a town administrator. So, and I feel like, we've accounted for the training, and we're also paying a market rate that, is somewhat so significantly really below the going rate for a finance director. I mean, just by way of background, where I don't think the town of Wenham, I don't think ever intends to be a leader in compensation. But when you look at other communities in our region, for example, the town of Hamilton pays a finance director almost $170,000. The town of Swampscott was hiring a finance director at $165,000. The town of Nahant is at about 140, right? They all have extreme difficulty finding anyone, not only with municipal experience, but with finance experience. And I think given the size of Wenham and that our hiring rate is lower than the larger communities, regardless of if we were to go back out to market, I think this is showing the market that there's not many municipal folks looking to make the move. We've been out now for, almost 3 months, and this is all we've got. The posting is still out there. And, I think that we would see ourselves in a situation where, you're either going to get somebody who's very green in municipal experience and young, which isn't a bad thing, but only has a couple of years under his or her belt, coming to Wenham to kind of cut his or her teeth in a leadership role, which is a training exercise. Or you have an individual who, in my opinion, has a really diverse, well-rounded background, both in human resources and, a career's worth of knowledge, working with people, working with numbers, but misses a little piece of the education. And you kind of, which one, I don't know if we want to look at it as less work or better, but which is better? Do we wait, continue to go with this position open, and hope that someone comes up that likely won't be, use like an Andover or a North Andover or Reading or one of these finance directors that's making $170,000, $180,000. Like, they're not going to present themselves and come to Wenham. It's just a reality. We're not going to get that unicorn, so to speak. Jeff was somewhat of an anomaly, in that, he had a unique background and had his own business and is looking to kind of come back to work for other reasons. And, obviously that didn't work out long term here. So, I'm not sure what it looks like if we weren't going to fill. I feel like this individual is qualified, and will do a good job. And I do understand that there is going to be more effort in training, getting up to speed for the Massachusetts side stuff. But I came from private finance, and I can say that it isn't insurmountable. It's learnable. It's not that complicated when you know where kind of where you need to go.
Karen?
Yeah, I just want to make sure I get the gist of this. So he doesn't have municipal experience. We're putting him through training to offset that. Assuming he's going to do the training, we're also putting all of our onus on Jen to get him up to speed. What do we do if Jen leaves? We have somebody in a position that now doesn't have a right-hand person in finance. They're not qualified for the position because they have no municipal experience, and they're drastically underpaid. So what happens if that, I mean, I'd hate to go back to the town and say we made a big mistake, but we're now locked into something, and because we didn't make the job a little bit more enticing for other applicants.
All right. Has everyone said their piece on this? Great. All right. I agree that the ideal candidate would be one that has municipal experience, but I feel as if Steve and his team went through a comprehensive process that he explained of interviewing people, and that the market has spoken that there aren't, that unicorn candidate that Steve described isn't applying in Wenham, which after all is the second or third smallest town in Essex County. So we're, not going to be a stop along the way necessarily for the kind of experienced candidate that we all think would be ideal. Um, in my opinion, the training program and the support that both Steve and Jen would be giving this person will be important, and will, is, I think, part of a pretty sound plan for the team, for the finance team. So I myself am comfortable with this. but happy to take any other comments or questions if anybody has anything new to say. All right, with that, I'd entertain a motion.
Yeah, so do we have the names and dates?
Yeah, it's am I sharing? Can you guys see the screen?
Yeah, there we go. So
Yeah, I can
we go.
highlight it for you, Gary.
Yep, got
Ernest
it here.
Jackson is the name, and the
Yep.
agreement here is.
Yeah, I was looking for the dates. Okay, so I move that we hire Ernest Jackson as the finance director for a period of time starting March 23rd, 2026 through June 30th, 2029.
Second. All right, we have a motion and a second. We'll take a roll call vote on this motion. Karen,
No.
Gary,
Yes.
and Ben is yes. It passes 2-1. Thank you, everybody, and I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second. Oh, is there something else, Steve?
Nope, no, just
Okay.
Yep.
At
All
9:21.
right. Oh, thank you. 9:28. Roll call. Karen,
Yes.
Gary,
Yes.
and Ben is yes. Thanks, everybody. Have a nice weekend.
thank you, you too.
Yeah, bye-bye.